Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you today to the province of Monte Carlo for the Grand Prix of Monaco. Today we're going to be watching 20 drivers in the XRL X3 category going at it and trying to survive the incredibly narrow walls, incredibly wide cars, and incredibly sensitive tires here to try and bring home one of the biggest crown jewels in F1 history. So today we already have 17 of our drivers loaded up into the lobby, and we should be underway very shortly here. I will pick up normally real quickly. I want to take care of some very brief technical stuff before we get to the top of the hour. Alright, anyways, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It is now top of the hour. It is exactly noon on the east coast of the United States right now. Granted, this is a European-focused series, primarily run with a lot of British drivers. But anyways, we got just about an entire lobby built up right now. We're still waiting on one more driver for both the Williams and Scuderia AlphaTauri Honda field. But XRL Iridisa and XRL Mon will be bringing home the hardware, hopefully, for the Mercedes AMG Petronas F1 team. Scuderia Ferrari will continue to be represented by XRL Turbo, with Carlos Jackson by his side. Aston Martin Red Bull Racing will have XRL Stumpy and XRL Whippy running for them. McLaren F1 team will have XRL Jono and XRL Snake here. Jono had a little bit of internet issues leading up to the event. Hopefully that doesn't end up striking again going into the race itself. Renault will have Blake and Devil, as Fratters will step into the Honda AlphaTauri, and it looks like we're about to get underway very shortly here, so I'm going to probably lose access to that. And here we are, beginning to load up Monaco. This is actually the first street circuit I've been able to cover for the XRL guys, so once again, big thanks to the XRL team for letting me step in and do coverage for these races here. I do absolutely love covering X3. There's always something going on in X3, and that's one of the reasons I absolutely love it. It's basically a complete opposite of real-life F1 in that regard, where F1 is really hit or miss. This is really on top of it. I absolutely love watching these guys go at it. But today, it's going to be a very, very interesting day, and all 20 drivers who will start today's race will hear the same thing at the start of the event that hopefully all of them will be able to take to heart: no heroics and descend de vote. This is the shortest track on the F1 calendar, and it's been a F1 World Series F1 World Series circuit for well over half a century, and the origins of this race honestly goes back all the way to the 1920s. It's been a very, very crazy, wild history. I remember one of my favorite stories about it is that there was a French spy who ended up getting into this and winning this race to try and further his missions as a spy. You also have more recent tales of insanity, like Eddie Irvine and Michael Schumacher pulling off the hardest stops at the very start ever in the 1999 Monaco event. You have the Frenchman winning in 1996 when 17 or more drivers crash out and there are only 3 finishers. Crazy stuff. Then you have events like 1982, where in the 1982 run at Monaco, the lead changed hands about 5 times in the final 3 laps. All those lead changes happening on the virtue of drivers either having cars break down or crashing. The guy who ended up winning actually lost the lead at one point and then got back onto the circuit. So yeah, this circuit has a lot of very, very famous history to it, a lot of scenarios. Granted, it's been very much... This has been a lot tamer of a circuit over the last few years, but hopefully it doesn't end up being too much of an issue today in the X3 category. And Carlos Jackson in the Scuderia Ferrari will be the first driver out today. Getting those tires warmed up on his out lap. There's your track map, and you can see drivers beginning to come out nice and tight. And then here we are. This is my favorite corner of all here at Monaco. This nice, hard hairpin, absolutely wonderful casino corner. And now they come to a really, really nice run down. This is the corner here where Fernando Alonso got knocked into a side. Not Fernando Alonso, I'm sorry. With the drive filling in for Fernando Alonso in 2017. Ended up knocking someone else on his side. That was Jenson Button. They come down into the chicane way back in the day. I'm talking back in the 50s, 60s, early 70s. That was almost full-on straight with just a little bit of a kink in it. That pretty much kink is gone now. It's a full-on little complex chicane. It makes it very hard to overtake, but if you can bully someone else off the circuit, primary racing line, you will be able to make something happen. As Carlos Jackson's coming around the final corner here, and XRL Stumpy has already retired from the session. We may have had our first dropout of the day without noticing it. Here's XRL Snake. And yes, it appears that XRL Stumpy has crashed there in the 3rd sector. There's still a yellow flag there in the 3rd sector. You can see the little blue dot on the map. Alright, and it is gone now. It has gone away. But very obviously, we are going to have a very, very difficult day if we've already had our first dropout and we're not even 5 minutes through quality. But this is Carlos Jackson. He will be the first driver, in theory, to set a lap time, and he is going to enable, I believe that is XRL Devil. Yes, it is. So Devil will go ahead and jump by him. So 18 drivers start qualifying here. 2 drivers end up missing quality. I imagine they will try and show up during the race itself. We already have our first dropout. So right now, only 2 drivers are in a position where they will get eliminated at the moment, assuming we don't have any more dropouts. Here's Carlos Jackson. As I said, he will be the first driver to put down a lap, assuming his lap is illegal. He did pull over and stop completely, so XRL Devil could get by and get some cleaner track. At the line, a lap has not been officially set yet. We'll stay out another lap on these tires, and that is XRL Gusty, who is now rounding the final few corners here. He's coming down. Will he be able to set a lap time? Yes, he does. The first driver to put a time down is XRL Gusty with a 1:12.683. Here's XRL Iridisa, and there we are. XRL Snake has finally put a time up, 1:13.019. Here's XRL Iridisa as he is nice and carefully tiptoeing down the hill down here. Here's Flying Wallaby, who is now entering the circuit as he's beginning the nice uphill run in that Alfa Romeo. Gotta be careful of the little bump right there around that corner. Then a nice parade blind corner there. Come running down. This just makes me feel nostalgic watching it. I was more of a IndyCar and Champ Car guy growing up, but I did watch Monaco races way back in the day, so this honestly makes me feel a lot more nostalgic than I should. Carlos Jackson now officially set his first lap time of 1:14.511 here. I imagine he'll more than likely decide to jump in and swap out the sausage floor and start wearing away too fast here. This is one of the smaller circuits, but it's no less abrasive on the tires, being a street course and all. Here's Hazel. Hazel is also on a flyer of a lap right now. Look at him flying down. He's almost immediately caught Carlos Jackson. He's gonna have to hope that Carlos Jackson either keeps up a nice high tempo and pulls out of the way. Yes, he will. So Carlos Jackson pulls out of the way. And now they take this run on down. Docks area, and he's back on the way. Power down. He has nice clean track ahead of him. Hazel looking to set his first lap time of the day. Just a little bit, oh, that might have been a little bit too much before, because they may have invalidated his lap. We'll see at the line here. I believe it did, because his entire map has turned out red for us. He opens up DRS down the front straightaway, but at the line, it is not a clean lap time, so he's going to have to try again. Setting on a clean lap, maybe yes is counting. Yes is counting. That's surviving a lap around here at full pace here. Just gonna stake the rest of this lap on board with Hazel, so you can see and hear how aggressive it is going around down here. Wow, the run into that hairpin comes up stupid fast there. Single corner always gonna be a little bit hairy. Off the wall, you don't want to turn it too hard. These cars have a habit of oversteering. You don't want to end up smashing your front suspension and front clean off that inside wall mid-corner. Only 4 drivers to set lap times thus far, with XRL Cargo with 1:12.079. The fastest thus far this time. Can he keep it clean in this little chicane? Yes, he will. He's only going to have 2 very difficult, tight corners to navigate at the end here. DRS is open. Coming down the line. Here comes Hazel. Right to the top. 1:11.557. Very nice and smooth all the way around. And it looks like he's going to start hammering some more times down now. Here's XRL Whippy. He has also set a lap time down. 1:12.722. Now Fratters has completed his first lap. 1:13.680. Now we have XRL Turbo. It's a lot slower than everyone else, but still lap time. 1:16.042. XRL Stumpy has dropped out of the event, as has XRL Devil. So with that in mind, there's only 1 spot left for drivers to end up getting eliminated. This could end up being very interesting here. And here is XRL Cargo. He's gonna pull over so it enables Hazel to have another clean run here. Does not want to end up being a hazard to anything else. Now here it comes. I believe this is XRL Whippy. Yep, there goes XRL Whippy. Now he needs to get going fast because there's another car coming up. He's right here, stopped in the middle. That was a little bit too close, I bet, for Fratter's liking. He has to be very careful here. This is one of the tricks and challenges of running at Monaco. The moment you pull over, try and give someone else room, you may be stuck pulling over and giving someone else room for a long period of time. The good news for Cargo is that he has already set a lap time. That's a pretty respectable lap time also. The second fastest of the day right now. Hazel's gone ahead and jumped through the pits. Here's Constant Jet running the Williams. He is still on his outlap. He has not yet set a lap. Retro has yet to actually exit the pits, as has WCD Huber. Neither of them have exited the pits yet. Constant Jet has nothing but clean track ahead of him. So assuming no one else, and XRL Whippy has retired from the session. So So Whippy has concluded that he has set a good enough time to make it into Q2. No need to risk the car. He's going to bring it in. It's still the 4th fastest time on the timesheets. And given the fact that he's basically guaranteed to be ahead of Stumpy and Devil, he basically would need everybody to suddenly, oh! And here we are, XRL Snake snaps the wall there. Hazel and Gusty have both returned from the session. No need to risk the car if you already have a decent time. We saw Snake there tap the wall. It looked like it was just kind of a very light tap. I don't think it would damage the car very much here. Only 4 cars on the circuit right now. XRL Snake is one of them, and he is going to pull off the circuit now. Now here's XRL... Oh, that's XRL Jono here. He's running by. Constant Jet is coming down here. He's coming through the final 2 corners. He's about to make his first lap at the line. Constant Jet jumps up to 8th, 1:14.345. And now here is XRL Jono. He is completing his outlap right now. And now he has begun his first flying lap. Here's Flying Wallaby, who is entering the final 2 corners as well. Same position. Now here's XRL Mod. He is finally coming onto the track. XRL Mod has been one of the more impressive drivers this season by far. In fact, both XRL Iridescent and XRL Mod have put together some impressive drives. Iridescent has already set his lap time down, but it's only a 1:14.4. XRL Mod, he's on his outlap now. What will he be able to do? Jackson, he is back on the circuit. He seems to think that he can better his time here. And Retro Ixie has finally joined the circuit as well. And there's about 4 cars with Mon, Jackson, Flying Wallaby, and Retro all kind of on top of each other there. They're starting to get a little bit spread out. Here's WCD Huber. He has finally exiting the pits. He's gained his outlap. There's only a little less than 6 minutes left in the session. If he can keep it clean, it may be, though, that the most important thing is just putting down a reasonable lap. We only have 2 dropouts thus far, and there we are. Another driver is up. So we only have 4 drivers who have yet to set their first official lap. Flying Wallaby is one of them, coming out of the line. Wallaby goes straight to the 2nd spot, 1:11.807. He is one of only 2 drivers to break the 1:11 mark. Impressive job out of the pit position. I'd immediately bring that car in and retire. No need to push for heroics in Q1. We're locked into Q2. Here's XRL Mon. He's got relatively clean track ahead of him. But he does have another car behind him. You can just see it. Well, I thought you would be able to see it. You can kind of see him behind in some of the shots. As he flies through the tunnel corner and out into nice. Careful. He's going to keep it clean, nice and slow. And one of the issues with having Formula 1 cars, as long as they are from nose to tail right now, is that makes it very, very hard to keep maximum control over them around those really slow, tight corners. Makes it very hard to make moves happen. That's why pretty much since about 97 or so, we've not really seen a whole lot of actual overtake and traditional racing here unless it's been in the rain. Sorry about that. XR Bond goes to the top, 1:11.302. He is one of only 3 drivers who have broke the 1:11 barrier. So the Mercedes team has one of their drivers on top once again. WCD Huber and Retro are the 2 drivers who have yet to set a lap time, though. Retro has completed a lap, but it was invalidated, so he has to go again. Here's WCD Huber now. Huber brings it right to the outside wall. He's in a purple sector for sector 2. That was a little bit tight on that chicane. I don't know if that might be too much cutting it. The track map is saying no, it's still legal as he's entering the final corner here. power down, DRS open, and at the line, WCD Huber is going to put down a 1:12.305. That's good enough for 5th. So Retro is the only driver who has yet to set down a clean lap time. And if he sets down a clean lap time, that's good enough. Turbo will be the one driver who will not be able to make it to the next session. But XRL Turbo is on his out lap now. He is trying desperately to make it into Q2 as well. XRL Snake has retired from the session. He believes that his 8th place time is good enough, and he is not concerned in the slightest. DRS open, Retro XC at the line, jumps into 6th, 1:12.536, and now everything comes down to what will Turbo do. Constant Jet is on an out lap as well here. Here's Careless Jackson. He has invalidated this lap, but he's trying to make something happen. Flying Wallaby has retired from the session. Here's Constant Jet. Oh! Almost in the pit lane exit. You need to be a little bit careful there. That could have been very quickly. That very quickly could have turned into a very bad scenario there. But he was able to keep out of it. Here's XRL Mon. He has a 1:11.302. Clean track ahead of him, but I imagine having the fastest time thus far may just be a better idea for him to bring it in and hit this time here. And here we are, Careless Jackson has pulled over. I'm having trouble seeing if he's pulled over to let the track be clean or if there may be damage, but he is completely pulled over. He is 12th on the timesheets right now, and here he is. He is underway. He's pulling over to try and make sure the track is relatively clean for his fellow competitors. XRL Stumpy and XRL Double end up wrecking out early. He does not want to be the cause of someone else doing that, especially if it ended up being his teammate. Meanwhile, here is Constant Jet coming down to the line. He will set a better lap time. Yes, he jumps up to 10th on the time sheet, 1:13.036. Now here's XRL Turbo. He is the one seat right now, the hot seat at the line. He will jump up 1:15.016. That's good enough. He is now ahead of XRL Yono. Yono is on an out lap. There's only 51 seconds left in Q1 though. It's getting really, really nuts at the back end here. But he's got Williams right behind him. And I believe that's Constant Jet. No, it's not Constant Jet. That is... What is that behind him? It's Fratters. Okay. It's Fratters in the AlphaTauri. XRL Mon has set a faster lap now. He has broken the 1:11 barrier. 1:10.546. XRL Mon wants to go out there and kneel on the, and there we are. And Fratters is going to touch that outside wall just a little bit while following in the wake of XRL Yono. He needs to be careful. These weeds are extremely sensitive. But XRL Mon is basically kneeling on everybody right now. He's basically putting his entire body weight on the entire field, saying, "Try and fight me, watch this." It's absolutely impressive to see what he's been doing here. But here we are. Yono has crossed the line. He's starting his official lap. Constant Jet has retired from the session. This is it. Yono has this one chance. He needs to make up roughly 400ths of a second in order to beat XRL Turbo and make it into Q2. He is the only car on track who still has to put down a new time, but it's saying here that his time is in red. His time may have been invalidated. I think his time has been invalidated, and if his time has been invalidated, XRL Yono will not make it to the next session. And that was Fratters. Fratters has damaged the car, has spun it around while following the wake of XRL Yono. He was pushing too hard. There's probably some damage on the front and the rear of the vehicle. Thankfully, the session is over. As long as the damage isn't too extreme, they should be able to get that car home and get it repaired, but not what you want to see at all. That's the risk of running qualifying here and just staying out. Even post-qualifying, when you've already set your time, you can still end up in a bad scenario very easily here. The aerodynamic weight of the car, not to mention the length of these cars from nose to tail, makes them very, very tricky to drive around here. XRL Yono coming into the pits. He has retired, and that means XRL Yono will not migrate to the next session. XRL Turbo, though, He's going to be very happy. That's going to be 2 Ferraris that will make it into Q2. Very nice to see on both of their parts as our time is now winding down. There's 1 car on the track, and that's XRL Iridisa. Although, I think it's just the AI controlling him right now. The driver's sure not doing it. But our session has ended. XRL Stumpy and XRL Devil both wrecked themselves out of Q1 and will not even begin to participate in Q2. But I'm going to say this. If they can get those cars repaired, that might be a positive thing. If there ends up being a significant incident in the first half of the first lap, being in the back of the field means that you will be in the best position to avoid it and react to it afterwards. You can inherit a bunch of positions early on. Obviously, the ideal position would be first, but if you can't be first, this is a circuit where being last might be a significant consideration. That is, if you're looking for just survival. If you're looking for winning, yeah, you basically need to be first. Iridisa still running the car on the circuit. Again, he's the only guy still on track. There's only about 21 seconds, a little less than 21 seconds left here in Q1. It opens up the DRS, the car is going to automatically go for another lap. But again, I'm pretty sure the driver is no longer in the car. I think it's just the AI who has taken over. So, not quite a chaotic first qualified session. I mean, for Stumpy and Devil, I'm sure it was, and for Turbo and Jonah, it definitely got a little bit too hectic for their liking, I'm sure. But here we are, so this is our lineup here. The 5 drivers who will not advance, well, the 3 drivers who will not advance, XRL Devil, XRL Stumpy, and XRL Jono. I believe there are 2 more drivers who missed qualifying altogether that will start in the very back of the field. But XRL Turbo, with a last lap move, pulls out a 15th place. He will make it to Q2. Careless Jackson, 14th. Fratters, 13th. XRL Iridisa, 12th. XRL Blake, 11th. Constant Jet, 10th. XRL Snake, 9th. XRL Whippy, 8th. XRL Gusty, 7th. Retro, Rixie in 6th. XRL Cargo, 5th. WCD Hugh Bird, 4th. Flying Wallaby, 3rd. Hazel, 2nd. And XRL Mon will come home first at the end of the first session. And again, XRL Mon, absolutely incredible job right away, putting the smash down on the field. 110. As we're standing by, as we begin to load up our Q2 here. No one has left the pit lane yet, obviously. We literally just started, but this is going to be a 15-minute session for these 15 cars to see who can make it into Q1. There we are. We see McLaren and Ferrari immediately leaving the circuit. That's going to be XRL Snake, who's going to be the first guy on track. And I believe it's going to be Careless Jackson, who will be following him. So XRL Snake now on the circuit here. Full tires, you want to be very careful through here. There's Flying Wallaby. That Alfa Romeo car, he is now out on the circuit. Now XRL Gusty is merging onto the circuit. He's got a lot of clean track ahead of him. Assuming no one up front ends up slowing down or anything, he should have enough clean track to put down a clean lap at least. Be very careful with your full tires in this first lap. You don't want to push too hard. I'm already struggling to get the tires warmed up. He's actually slowed down enough that they threw a yellow flag there in the third sector. And he is back underway. The field already, we're seeing about almost half of the field already out on the circuit to try and set laps. Here's XRL Gusty. He's going to be coming down to these final 2 corners now. Here we are. This is going to be interesting. XRL Snake is on a nice fast lap, but he's going to have one of the Red Bulls. That's XRL Whippy right ahead of him. He needs Whippy to pull over so he can continue to set down this fast lap. Will Whippy do that? Yes, it will. Yes, he will. Whippy will pull over, entering the tunnel turn. So Snake is going to try to put down the very first fast flying lap of the day to make it into Q1. His lap times are still clean. Went even faster here in the second sector. He's in the final sector now. There is a yellow flag. One of the red machines have slowed down ahead of him. That was XRL Cargo. He has validated his lap. Here comes XRL Snake at the line. To the top, 112.938. We're already started off at a very respectable pace here. And here comes Flying Wallaby. He's coming down to the line. Here's Jackson's already up there with 114.28. Flying Wallaby right to the top, 110.857. He immediately picks up the pace. He's smacking his chest and saying, "Come at me, bro. Look at me. Look at me, Mercedes. I can do just as good as you here." He has also broken the 111 barrier, but he's not yet beaten the time that XRL Mon had set earlier. Now we have 4 drivers who set their first official lap times here. This is XRL Cargo, and there's a yellow flag here in Sector 2. I believe that is one of the McLaren. This XRL Snake was pulled over to enable Whippy to have time for a flying lap here. We still have 5 drivers who have not gone to the circuit yet. And here we are, WCD Hubert, and that Haas machine is now beginning to merge back onto the racing circuit. Fratters is on his outlap, and here's XRL Blake, the only Renault to make it into Q2 after his teammate got eliminated in the last few moments after not being able to set a good time. Blake trying to make something happen. Seven drivers have set their lap times thus far. Oh, and he bounces off the wall there. He went a little bit too aggressively through the chicane, bounced off the outside wall. Now, I don't believe it's damaged the car too much. There was a piece that came off. There was a piece that came off of the front of the car, but he is still going. It did set a lap time, 112.804, but there is a little bit of damage to the right side of that front wing. You can see part of the end plate's missing. So Blake's definitely going to have a little bit of a hairy time trying to finish up this lap, whether he decides to go faster or decides to bring it in. But right now, his time is good enough for 5th. Fratters has invalidated this lap, it appears. Or I think he's invalidated this lap. It's saying that most of the circuit is in red right now. Very smooth, slow but smooth. And what they say is slow, smooth, smooth is fast. Fratters trying to take that very literal there. Here in the final third of the circuit. Trying to just bring the car home, be nice and careful with it so he hasn't a chance to go full bore. It looks like a left wing end plate is ripped off of that car, so he has not yet set a lap time. Now here is WCD Hubert. He's the only driver out here on the track right now in a position to set a brand new lap time for the first time in this session. Brings it down to 2. Very careful, very smooth, almost right on that wall. He's got the power down. Car's still looking very nice. Says his time was up in the second sector. Going to the third sector now. Didn't cut the chicane, but he's coming right up on another driver. He's going to have to be very careful. It's XRL Iridisa who's gone ahead and pulled him to the pit, so Iridisa will not be a hazard to him. WCD Hubert at the line. He will set down time of 111.670. Very smooth move from him. So very good job by WCD Hubert right off the bat. The track is pretty close to being empty right now. He's the one of only 3 drivers on the circuit at the moment. The other 2 are on the one of them which is his teammate Gusty, is on the complete other end of the track trying to put down a clean lap. And then he also has XRL Iridisa, who is still circling the circuit in the second sector right now. Everything good with you? Real good? Everything good? Okay. I did know that there were plans to get someone else here in X3 with me. I just wasn't aware that those plans went through. That's all I heard, so. Okay, sweet. Okay. Yeah, it's cool. Don't worry about it too much. It happens. Alright, anyways, apologize for that brief little scenario there. Back to the circuit, we still have 4 drivers who have yet to officially put down the time. XRL Turbo has not even left the pits yet. Just to put, and then we're getting down there in time for just a little bit over 6 minutes. Retro is now in a position where he might be able to set a time. Franders was out on the track earlier. He's on another outlap, but he was on the track earlier in a position to try and put down the time. He ended up invalidating the lap, took a little bit of damage, had to come in to repair the car, get a new wing on, and he did it again! Right when Franders, we just saw him knock the wall once more, and that's going to damage that front wing. He immediately pulls in. Franders might not make it to Q3 simply because of all the damage that car accumulates every single time he's come onto the circuit. XRL Mon is on the is out here, as is Retro. Mon is trying to run it down through the casino corners now. Got the power down. What can he do in that Mercedes? He was the fastest driver in Q1 by a massive amount, but right now he is not the only guy below the 111 mark. That's Flying Wallaby. Flying Wallaby has officially retired from the session. Let's put the power down. He's entering the third and final sector here. It's saying his sector 2 is nice and quick. What will he be able to do here? Oh, really close to cutting that chicane, but it's still legal as far as we can tell. He does have Retro ahead of him. Retro's going to be coming down the line. Retro will put down an invalid lap time, but XRL Mon, his lap is still clean at the line. XRL Mon goes only to second, 111.175. He is not able to knock Flying Wallaby off the timesheets top yet, but that could change if he wants to stay out. There is clean track ahead of him. Assuming that Retro doesn't need to pull over for anything, he might have enough clean track ahead of him, Monmate, to get to the very top in Q2. WCD Hubert has gone up to third on the time streets, 111.317. Here is Retro. Bradders is on another outlap. Hopefully this time he'll be able to keep it out of the wall. He has been having a very, very rough go at it today. Significant damage to that car all the way around. Mon has pulled over to enable, I believe that was Carol's, no, that was Cargo, to enable Cargo to have some clean time ahead of him. Cargo is at 111.650. He might be able to improve his laps. He has gone even faster here in sector 2. The temptation is there to stay out and make it work going through the final 2 corners. Here is XRL Cargo 6 in the timesheets right now. He's coming down. He's getting it really sideways to that final corner, but he's got the DRS open. And the line XRL Cargo will improve his lap time to a 111.619, but it's not going to be enough to get him ahead of XRL Iridisa. But that was a huge moment there, exiting the final corner. And now here's XRL Whippy. This has been an invalid lap from him. He's going to have to make another lap if he wants to improve. Right now, he is on the bubble of drivers who might get knocked out. Retro has put down a time. It is 112.806. Here's Fratters coming down to it. He is going to finish his outlap. There is not damage on the car at the moment. Fratters needs to stay and keep it clean for the rest of this lap if he wants a chance to make it the next round. And the really crazy part is XRL Turbo has yet to go out onto the circuit. And I believe we just saw it right there, folks. Fratters has tapped the wall once again with the side of the car. He just broadsided it. Now, it looked like a relatively square hit. Assuming the damage isn't too much, he might be able to lift the car around and put A time down. The problem is, A time may not be enough for him to go into Q3. Be very careful, be very ginger with the car here. Yellow flag in Sector 2, as I believe that is Careless Jackson who's pulling over to enable Constant Jet to go through. Constant Jet is at 1:14.071. He is on his outlap to try and improve on that, because as it is right now, Jet would not make it in the next round. XRL Turbo is finally onto the circuit. He's going to start an outlap as Fratters very nearly cuts that inside wall there really hard. He's going to tap that outside wall just a little bit. He is knocking down every wall here, trying to find every bit of time. Thing is, the car can only give so much. All those tabs are really going to damage as he sits it really hard and gets really hard to the brakes in the second last corner. Power down. He's going to come down to the line. Will be a good lap. Fratters at the line. 1:14.912. Good news is he set a lap. Bad news is it's the slowest lap we've had thus far this session. He needs to find at least 2 whole seconds to improve. Here's Retro. He's coming to the final 2 corners now. But he's going to pull in to the pits. He is not going to push harder. He is 8th on the time sheets right now. And here is XRL Turbo. He's on his out lap. Now his first outright lap. Right now we are looking at a scenario where the Ferraris, who barely made it into Q2, might not even come close to making it into Q3. But the real question is Fratters. It's saying that his time is invalidated right now. Constant Jet has retired from the session, but he's only 12th on the sheets, as is Whippy, retired at 1:13.520. It looks like the 2 of them have realized that it's fruitless. They will not be able to take off. Oh, Fratters whips it around. I think he tapped the inside wall with the right rear of the car there, and he does it again. And that's going to significantly alter the suspension of that car. That car is going to be really unhappy driving here. Now here he is, he's at the line, he's put the power down. I don't know if Fratters is going to have what it takes to find the time to improve. He might end up behind Careless Jackson as well. It's gotten really hairy for Fratters here as he's into the outside wall again. He's been knocking that car against the wall so much that the car's handling is going away. It's breaking the car apart via death by 1,000 paper cuts. The time is up in the session. Turbo has yet to set a time. Fratters and Careless Jackson are desperately trying to improve their times by at least 2 seconds or more. Very careful, Fratters is trying to crawl around. Turbo has set a lap time 1:14.896. It's faster than Fratters, but not even close enough to get him into the next session. It's making me claustrophobic because watching Fratters here. He's putting it right up against the wall over, and he does it again. He's hit that wall about 3 times in 3 laps. Goes right over the chicanes. I'm sorry, this isn't a very informative broadcast right now. I'm kind of cringing my seat thinking of what could go wrong. And here he is, Fratters is finally going to pull it in. No need to continue bashing the car or the walls down. The walls aren't going to move. Only the car and the millions of dollars of investment in it will end up moving. Here's Careless Jackson. He has gone ahead and pulled into the pits as well. So with that in mind, although Turbo is still on the circuit, it's saying that the little checker flag by his name say that his times are up. So the session is over. Fratters definitely trying all he can to improve on his time. Knocked down the wall a bunch of times here, but Q2 has come to a nice conclusion. No one drops out, but we definitely had some nutty moments. Quite a few wheels layered around the track. We have to clean the place up. But it's XRL Whippy, Constant Jet, Careless Jackson, XRL Turbo, and Fratters who will not make it in to Q3. Anyways, here in the party with me, I have XRL Cookie. Cookie, you've been driving the XRL series for a while. I'm curious, from the perspective of a driver in these cars, what is the #1 way to try and get around Monaco in a, to say the least, a non-Fratters way right now?
Well, in this case, I found not hitting the walls obviously is the best way to get around here. There's so many of them, so maybe slowly, just casually. Um, I've never finished a Monaco race, so one of the reasons why I was working this evening, because I will ruin a lot of future races. I'll hit the wall and I've got twitchy inputs, so obviously when I come back again, there will be no control. It's too dangerous.
So here. So Cookie, I do have to ask a little bit question more on the circuit in general. As you know, the circuit has been on the Formula One schedule for well over half a century, and its history goes all the way back to the 1920s. There's not been a whole lot of changes to the circuit in general. Do you think it is time for a significant change in overhaul for the Monaco GP to better suit the Formula One cars that we have running today?
Oh yeah, definitely. For the modern day F1 cars, the track does need some form of revamp, remake. But it's a city. You know, you can't just knock the buildings down and widen the track and rebuild them again. So it's quite a tricky one. The problem I find with modern day Formula One cars around Monaco, they're too wide. So even on the few overtake opportunities that there are, you're very limited on your options because the doors can be closed so easily because the cars are so wide. It doesn't leave a lot of options. So if you're somebody like me that likes to make a train, Monaco is the perfect one to do that.
Well, you hear here, and as I must just bring this up real quickly on the topic of the width of the Formula One cars. Formula One cars have been getting gradually wider and wider since the very end of the 1990s. Right now, their width from side to side is very directly comparable to the width of the cars that we had in 1982 and the underbody downforce era that we were infamous for in that time. They're a lot narrower from nose to tail back in the 80s, but you're dead right, the width is very comparable to a time where racing was very, very tricky to say the least. So realistically, do you think it would be a better idea to alter the cars or alter the circuit then? Because obviously there's not a whole lot of give in either way, but there's only one way to improve. What do you think it would be?
Obviously, the better way would be obviously I think would be improve the track, but it's how you could like say is how you can improve the track, because obviously there's all well and good improving cars, but it's still Monaco's never been famous for its overtakes anyway. Obviously it's more like a Le Mans sort of style. It's way out of trouble when going to make it to the end. But no, maybe a bit of both. Maybe a bit of track redesign and car redesigns. You do have a dramatic F1 oil change coming next year, so
this is true. One thing I would personally suggest, that if I could talk to the guys who designed the circuit, and I realize it might not be considered the safest thing ever, but the chicanes that come out right after the tunnel section,
yes.
I myself, and we have Flying Wallaby, who has come to a complete stop, as has XRL near Disa. Oh yeah, it is Cargo, it's not Wallaby, Wallaby's still going. But yeah, Cargo came to a complete stop there, and Disa nearly ran over them before he also came to a stop, so a brief track blockage, just a little bit before the swimming pool area. But the chicane, not even a chicane, it's more like a complex that you have right now after the tunnels. Way back in the 60s and early 70s, it was a nice, fast, real quick flick of the steering wheel to get through. That's been changed since, but I wonder if altering that to keep that a more full throttle area would open up a overtaking zone in the near 90-degree corner that comes shortly afterwards. That would be the only real suggestion of an alteration I could think of, though.
That could work, because you are right. That first left-hand turn when you come down the hill out of the tunnel, it was never. I'm sure it never used to be as sharp as what it was. You used to be able to go almost not for it flat out, but more of less of an acute angle. Obviously, you can't really change any of this uphill section on the you know, there's, like, if you look after the barrier, it's just wall and buildings. Maybe we could remove a car park from the building and redesign the track through the car park. That could be quite fun. Give it like another tunnel. Give it another tunnel.
Yeah, I think that would actually be very interesting. A race that's like almost a third of the way underneath other buildings would actually be very, very unique. Another suggestion that I would make, this would go more towards the Principality of Monaco in general, rather than just FIA, is that a lot of countries like the Netherlands have been working on land reclamation from the ocean, and I would suggest potentially trying to reprofile the docks, get a little bit more land made, so you would have more room, not only for the racetrack, obviously, but more room for building potential housing, better docks.
The only problem is with that though, then, is it will lose its historic value of being like one of the few last natural harbour ports left in the world. It's not man-made, it's not touched still. You know, once you start doing that, then obviously you're going to lose that. I think for their historic factor, that's probably a little bit more important than just having one good Grand Prix every year. If you think that factor holds its title for the whole year round. It's slightly off of the F1 subject, but to do with, obviously, like you were saying, if you want to extend that dock area out and the swimming pool area, you would have to like, do some landscaping onto the docks, but then technically create it now, wouldn't it?
The only other potential area where I could think where you might be able to find ways to extend more, and I'm not a fan of this idea in general, but the little downhill fast straight with that bump on it, I don't remember exactly the name of the straight with that bump that everyone swerves to avoid, but might have to take that out completely, and instead of making the 90-degree right-hand corner into it, you may need to find a way to go even farther out, straight deeper into the Principality. Obviously, though, it's a very, very small circuit in a relatively small and tight and crowded location anyway. You can't just say, hey, we want to use a whole lot of extra roads that you might not even have available. It's definitely a scenario where there's no easy option. And even if you took every single decent suggestion that I could come up with, or Cookie could come up with, or basically anyone could come up with, there's no guarantee that even altogether everything would improve the circuit in a typical traditional way.
I just thought of a brilliant one how they could absolutely improve the Monaco Grand Prix. In fact, this would improve every single Grand Prix. So what they should do is they should tunnel underneath the racetracks and rebuild the racetrack as a tunnel underneath it. And then, like, quarter of the way round, there should be, like, slopes that go up onto the roof. Because F1 cars, apparently, once they get to a certain speed, they go on the roof. So, I think halfway through the race, the track should switch and they should race on the roof. Now, that would make it interesting. Oh, Snake! That's unlucky. He was a lot up on his timing in Ballet, but the chicane as you come out from the tunnel. I don't remember the name.
Yeah, I've been watching Snake as well. Snake and Cargo and Mon are right now the three drivers who are in position, who have already set laps down, but are in position to improve. Snake has recorded his time though. I will say this: I like the idea in everything except one area. You would potentially have a buildup of carbon monoxide in the tunnels very quickly as the race would go on. You'd have to probably transition to full-on Formula E electric only stuff. But
you could easily ventilate the tunnel.
For that.
Yes, yeah. Because you think obviously they make like the Euro tunnel that goes across from Calais to, I think, I can't remember where it starts this end, I think it might be Dover to Calais. Yeah, Dover to Calais. You know, that's one really long tunnel and they have to obviously ventilate that. We also have another quite a long tunnel that goes underneath the River Thames which carries cars through it, and you look up and you get like giant shafts that go back up, and they are basically just ventilation shafts. So keep the air low circulated, so it could be possible, but yeah, mind you, race cars probably create a lot more carbon monoxide than those cars do.
Well, Well, I'll tell you one thing that is definitely possible. A nice little fight for the top 2 positions in the time sheets here. We spent most of Q3 talking about alterations in the circuit, but the drivers right now are doing a really good job with what they have available. XRL Mod and Flying Wallaby are both within about 5 thousandths of each other right now on the timesheets. We could have a real slugfest for the pole position here, and pole at Monaco is everything.
Everything, yep. Oh. The yellow flag just before the tunnel, I think it might have just been cargo getting out of the way, yes. Although I'm not racing.
I think he's going to be full. Say that again?
Oh, sorry, I was literally just going to say, oh, it wasn't cargo. Cargo was almost in the way there, and no one returned. Oh, and one. I was going to say, even though I'm not racing in Monaco, this is definitely one I do enjoy watching. It's definitely going to be carnage everywhere. Wow,
hopefully we won't see any heroics at the side of the road.
Up on his lap, coming up to the hairpin.
Right now, his time for Gusty is 1:12.175. If he could make 2 full seconds improvement, that would put him ahead of both Wallaby and Mon. That's assuming he could maintain those 2 seconds, and we've seen a lot of drivers throw away a good fast lap in the swimming pool section, or throw it away right here in the complex.
Very brave. Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's too brave, right into the wall. It's still clean. If he can keep it together. If he can keep... Nope, invalidated. That was a little exciting for a moment there.
I was looking forward to seeing what time that was for Gusty then, but...
Hazel right now is saying another clean lap, but said that he was a 1/10 of a second down from his best lap thus far, so I don't know if he's going to be able to actually make a significant improvements. He is aborted. He's going to pull over. XRL Mon is on an out lap. I think he's going to try and take the fight to Flying Wallaby at the last possible second here. As
Wallaby
Retro is actually time up. Awesome.
Yeah, so Flying Wallaby is on a lap at the moment. He is up, but he had a
Retro into the wall! He lost complete control completely coming out of the final corner, put the power down, the car completely stepped away from him, he kept it off the inside wall, going to turn right to the outside wall. There is some significant front wing damage on that machine now.
I think Flying Wallaby has aborted this lap and doesn't seem to be going full speed through the street.
Less than 30 seconds left. Yep. And WCD Hubert, who's still third on the timesheet, is staying out for another lap. He's at 1:10.864 at the moment, and the real difficult part is Snake is right behind him. Snake needs to figure out some way to get by as he runs over some of the debris left over from Retro's car earlier. As Gusty has retired from the session, he is saying, nope, 9th is good enough for me, I'd rather preserve the car.
Bad idea. And Hazel
Hazel is 2.7 seconds down right now. I'm not Hazel. Snake is 2.7 seconds down right now. I think this lap is going.
Yeah, he didn't even attempt that from turn 1. He went round, slowed everything down.
Something went wrong. I think Iridisa cut a tire. Coming out of that final corner. The car suddenly veered left right into the outside wall and basically was bouncing off the wall for a little bit, going down the straight. Now he's back under full power, but I believe the AI is taking over now. But it was a very weird. It was like a gradual straight line into the outside wall that he took there.
That looks like everybody.
Yep, the only driver
Throughout
out
their
whose
times.
time hasn't officially altered is Hubert, but Hubert has a red circuit he can't improve. Yes, he's pitting in. So our final times are now up on the board. Mercedes, which has been very, very strong throughout the entirety of the season thus far, is not going to lock out the front row. They're not even going to take the pole. XRL Mon ends up missing the pole by 5 thousandths of a second at the end, and ends up going to the Alfa Romeo of Flying Wallaby 19 for the top spot.
Well done. Oh yeah, all three of those top times. That is close, very close.
So a very, very interesting Q3. Again, I will admit, I don't think it was wasted because I felt like it's really nice talking about this circuit with other people. But like, we missed a lot of the action vocally, although we showed some of it on the cameras. But XRL Blake in the Renault brings home 10th. Gussie is going to start 9th. Snake in 8th. Iridisa 7th. The lowest we've seen a Mercedes start for a while. Retro is going to start 6th in the Racing Point. His teammate Haz will be right ahead of him in 4th. Cargo splits the two of them in 5th. Then we have WCD Hubert, who's going to start 3rd. He is the highest of the Haas machines. Mercedes, highest engine performance is going to be from the factory Mercedes with XRL Mon, and Ferrari engines are going to bring home the pole with Flying Wallaby 19 at the top of the timesheets. But that gap between 1st and 2nd is absolutely incredible.
That would be like photo finish if they were racing. That'd just be you couldn't even, you blink and you miss it. Good to see though, so it's going to make the race very interesting. Yeah, I apologise to our viewers about us chatting about the Monaco Grand Prix. Slightly also. Oh, we have lost Cargo. It's not very good. I will try and get him back.
I will ask your opinion on this. I don't know if you follow the series at all, but Formula 1 is no longer the only series going to be running here at Monaco. Formula E is anticipated to run the full Monaco Grand Prix layout in 2021 or 2022. What are your thoughts on that?
I would watch that. I'm not a massive fan of the Electric E series, just because there's no noise. If you know, for motorsport, you need the engines. But I like the concept of it. Obviously, it's the future. That's the way it's going to be. I do like the way that they do their races, if you know what I mean, with, I can't remember what the proper wording they use it, but where the fan boost, where the fans can boost the cars, and they have 2 cars per race, and those around Monaco, because they're grippy, so, and they don't care if they hit a wall, so that could be, yeah, let's do it. That'd be fun.
Well, the concept of 2 cars per race has been gone for a little while. They've gone to one single car that can go and last an entire race. They've done that for about 2 full seasons now.
I think we have a lobby restart, by the way. Everybody is leaving.
Hopefully the
okay. Well, that goes to show how long I've not watched the series for then, because last time I watched it, they still had 2 batteries in a car. And that also goes to show how well and how good technology is advanced in over the years, because the reason why they had 2 cars is they couldn't create a battery to do one race or last one race, if you know what I mean.
So one
that's
caveat
brilliant.
to that, though, yeah, the races are a little shorter, but the cars are significantly faster. They're not quite to Formula 3 levels, though. They're not quite the Formula 3 speed, but they are comparable to Formula 4 without a doubt. And they still have very low downforce. They run tires that are much, much closer to the road tires that you and I have on our everyday vehicles. And
yes, they use the same tires for F2, don't they? It's similar, yes. So carry on.
Yeah. And then the other significant thing is that they now have a alternate lane around some of the corners, where if you run wide or run extremely narrow through certain corners, it will basically activate a boost on the track, almost like a boost zone, that will open up the more power for the battery for the next anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. So kind of arcadey, but it's kind of like extra power that Fan Boost does, but it's over a much, much longer period of time. and it's the hands of it are much more on the driver and to a lesser extent the team rather than the votes on a social media site.
Yes, okay, that works. Okay, boys, I'm joining. We're coming.
If this isn't just to you, this is to anyone watching, if you have not watched a Formula E race recently, just to see some of the changes that have happened in Formula E, I would highly suggest looking up the 2019 Formula E Grand Prix that was in Mexico. I believe that was probably one of the best races they have ever had, although there was a red flag early on in the session. Yeah.
Oh,
they run Yeah, they run at Mexico. They run so I don't know how familiar some of you guys are or not with Mexico circuit, but Mexico has held at Autodromos Hermanos a race for Formula One for several years, and then way back in the early 90s and throughout most of the 80s they held it also. They take the final little sector of it, which goes around a stadium, and there's an actual oval that comes around there that the NASCAR Peak Mexico Series uses on that oval. So Formula E goes and they run that oval, but there are a few chicanes that go around it, like a really unique chicane through the stadium section that you don't see in any other series that they use there. And then this year when they went to Mexico, they also had a significant runoff extension from turn 1 and 2, which really lengthened the straightaway, so there was a lot more power coming from the battery in a straight there. So yeah, very unique layout, but it still is very distinctly Autodromo Hermanos in design.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to. I'll watch that one.
I believe we're still waiting for 2 drivers potentially to show up.
Yeah, when I left the previous race lobby, there were still 2 of them sat there on the grid, so it could be there. But Andy, right, give me 2 seconds.
So weather is anticipated to be dry for today's race here at Monaco. That will make things a little bit easier for the guys out here. I don't want to go through 1996 again. Don't get me wrong, 96 is fun and all, considering the history that came out of it, but yeah, I don't want to be in 1996 again. I don't want to see only 3 drivers at the end of a race. If we're going to have a situation like this, I'd much rather it be like 1982 than 1996. Still standing by at the moment. We'll be going underway here shortly at Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix very shortly. But as we look very briefly, it's still trying to load up all the proper team and driver combos at the moment. XRL Mon, XRL Blake, and Flying Wallaby, for whatever reason, all have not ended up in the actual cars that they're supposed to, so... So really quickly, while we're still standing by, I'm just going to go ahead and very quickly pull up the current point scenario. We are now far enough into the season where the championship points battle for both driver championship and team/manufacturer championship is definitely coming into play in a very blatant way. 1 second. I had a little issue on my end. Anyways, coming into this race, this is the scenario where it came to the points. XRL Whippy, Ballistic, and El Yoyex all had yet to put down points. Fratters in 15th has only put down 1 point. It's been a very rough season for him. Hazel is right ahead of him with 1 point as well. Then you have XRL Gusty, who is staying 14th in the point standings with only 2 points. XRL Turbo has 3 points. He's 13th on the board. XRL Blake has 5 points. WCD Hubert has 8 points in the Haas machine. Then you have XRL Cookie has 12 points. XRL Dono has 13. Retro is tied with Electric Fritz for 14 points up. Then you have XRL Gazilio in the Red Bull machine. He has 25 points. He's 2 behind XRL Snake with 27. XRL Iridisa has 31 points. He's 3 behind XRL Devil with 34. And then XRL Cargo is staying 40th. And then the real big challengers when it comes to point show up. Flying Wallaby with 60 points. And then XRL Mon with 106. So Mercedes' XRL Mon has definitely opened up a nice little gap on everyone else, but that's not meaning that everything's locked up yet by any means, especially if Flying Wallaby puts on performances in races like he did in qualifying here.
And a little fact about Cookie, because obviously it's me. I've only finished one race, which is where my 12 points came from. All the other ones I was unlucky to be involved in an incident or my own stupidity. Got the better of me. Which is quite disappointing because obviously if I had finished those races, I would have nicely been up a bit further up that points table as well.
You were one of the drivers involved in the first lap incident at Zandvoort, weren't you?
Oh, I was Zandvoort. Yes, basically what happened was my teammate had a small tap with somebody else and he caught the grass and it tank slapped his car straight across in front of me, and there was just no stopping. Like the brakes came on, but I just went straight into his side pod, which then threw me into the wall on one side, and obviously the collision killed him as well. So yeah, we were both out of Van der Voort. That was a 0 points finish. Not impressed about that one, but yeah, there's nothing we can do about it. It's done and dusted. So
the only reason I asked about Zandvoort was because I saw just the very tail end of that when you went into the wall, and I saw the two of you knocked out, but I was confused as to how the two Ferraris got knocked out there in turn 4. It's very rare you see an entire team go out right at the start of a race. So, and we don't exactly have replay features or anything like that. That's why I just wanted a little bit of understand what exactly happened there.
Yeah, it's a shame that we can't do stuff like that. But that is basically that is what I obviously have a clipping of it. But yeah, that is basically what happened. First lap incidents it's just unlucky as he caught the grass. It decided it was going to become tank slappery sideways across the track as I'm coming round, and yeah, straight into the side pod. There was no time to react, no time to even do anything apart from just accept what was going to happen. I was basically a passenger.
It looks like we're going to be looking at 18-car grid for today's race, so a little bit smaller than what you have in your traditional Formula 1 event. Biggest thing going into this race, obviously you say you've never finished a race here at Monaco, but what do you think is the big ideal start to get a start here at Monaco, other than the obvious no heroics at Zandvoort?
Yeah, I would just say, obviously, starts is not an issue. Go just clean and obviously be very vigilant on your awareness for the start, because I think if you can all get round the start and up to the top of the hill without any damage, we're probably looking at a good race. Yeah, I suppose patience as well comes in handy here, because you're going to be, if you are trying to overtake a car in front, you're going to be sat behind him for a long time, so you've got to be patient and not get frustrated and send a dive bomb move where you shouldn't be sending a dive bomb move, and you end up causing yourself and others collisions. Obviously it makes great racing for us to commentate on, but for them, not so much. But also, yeah, I could race it, you know. I could try and knock that one off the list of races that I've not completed. But honestly, over the years, I've tried, and I cause more accidents than it's worth. So, for respect out of other drivers and the community, I decide to just not take part at Monaco, and it's double penalties as well. I don't really fancy getting 2 race bans because I couldn't control my car and I killed somebody else.
I am a
little
little
bit
bit
of
curious
smart
because I
thinking.
saw. I'm a little curious because I saw that go up late last week about double penalties, basically, for instance, in today's race. What
Yes.
exactly is the reason for that being decided at Monaco and not at a faster circuit where incidents can have a bigger impact, like Monza?
Okay, yeah, this was implemented. Actually, this isn't the first one we've done this. I think we did this last season, and it was implemented to stop the people doing the whole, oh, I'm going to throw a dive bomb here, and you are going to move out my way, and I am going to come on through, or push someone into a barrier. It's dangerous. People won't take caution. So we decided, okay, well, if you want to carry on like this, we'll start implementing a double points penalty system for it, just to make people be a little bit cautious, and it worked. We had, I think last season, I think it was X2 or X3 race, 20 drivers started, and I think like 18 of them finished. So, and it was a very like pretty good incident-free race because nobody wants a double penalties. Because obviously, say if you've got one race ban, that's actually 2. So, or one qualifying ban, that's 2 qualifying bans. It makes you think a little bit more while you're on track. Oh, do I really want to risk this? Because it's not just the effects in the race; it's obviously the longer effects after the race.
But
I do agree that there is other tracks I believe that could be implemented as well.
I will ask though, do you think that might bring a risk for making the race here at Monaco basically a parade session where after you get through the first 3 quarters, you are where you are and you're not able to make a move, period, because you don't think you can take that risk?
As much as I don't want to admit it, that it has the potential for that, obviously, as well. So I suppose that comes down to driver's ability as well, as much as obviously all thinking it's double penalties. You know, if that driver is confident that he can make that move and successfully carry it off, then why not? For me, well, I'd say I'll go for the back.
Alright, and it's lights out, away we go, Gary. And immediately one of the Haas's immediately go right into the high, and there's a massive stack up there. Fratter's involved, Hubert is involved, Cargo's involved, Devil's involved. There's at least 3 cars completely, very badly damaged. Right there, the Fratter's XRL Plank is taken out, and now we have more instances. The safety car has gotten involved. He has got caught up with... The safety car has pinned XRL Cargo to the remains of XRL Blake's car. Now Blake has despawned, and now, well, okay.
I've never seen that before. The safety car pushing Cargo up the pit exit. Wow.
And that's Retro, whose car is completely ruined there, just
and
outside
Blake.
of turn 1. Oh, wow. So the situation we're at now is, they say no heroics in descent de boat. We didn't even make it to San de boat this time.
Cargo didn't even move off of the line, he just went sideways, and that was it.
The one thing I'm impressed at... Oh, wow. The one thing I'm impressed at, WCD Hubert barely got moving, got turned right nose first into the outside wall. No. I saw that entire Haas up in the air, but he is still on the racetrack. He is going to be able to drag that Haas at least a little bit longer today. He might still be able to take some points out of that, but what a mess.
Gusty has just been disqualified because of the safety car pinning him against the wall, because he was technically blocking the pit lane, but it wasn't his fault, and James disqualified him.
I wonder if there might be a consideration to...
They have just... and Gusty. Yeah.
I wonder if there would be a consideration to restart the entire session, considering
that... I would
put
that forward, yeah.
Yeah, they might need to restart the session, considering that the game seems to have penalized drivers who the circumstances were completely out of their control at the start.
absolutely ridiculous. But I'm going to jump onto the penalty direction and find out who, because there are so many. So, Whippy got a 5-second time penalty for collision with Mon. Stumpy got a 5-second time penalty for collision with Whippy. Whippy got a 5-second time penalty for collision with Blake. Huber got a 5-second time penalty for collision with Cargo. And then Huber got one for having collision with Barry. Devil got 5 penalty for collision with Turbo. And then vice versa. Cargo got a warning for a collision with Huber. Bradder's got a time penalty for a collision with Huber. Cargo again, and then Cargo got qualified for blocking main exit, and then the rest is the end of disqualification and terminal damage. So, yeah.
I'm just saying personally, if I was an official, I would seriously put forward the suggestion of total race restart, but
I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna
already,
jump
we've already dropped down to a 15-car field right now, as we are under the safety car for a massive incident at the very start here at Monaco. But at the front, Flying Wallaby had a wonderful initial start, was able to pull right ahead of XRL Mon, no problem. The real interesting part was that WCD Hubert, who was the third fastest, ended up being the one who got into the wall and up in the air. So an instant on the second row ends up taking out 2 drivers, and then F1 2020 Club disqualifies the third driver for reasons completely out of his control, but from as far as we can tell.
I have just asked for a restart. Dono says only one restart permitted. So you restarted because one person lost connection and now they won't restart because 3 or 4 people basically got them. Well, that makes about sense right about now. But oh well, so we are continuing racing with what we have. So let's go and view the safety car. Let's get the safety car. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Gotta feel absolutely horrible for XRL Cargo, considering that his race basically ended up being over before it even began for certain safety to be under control. But that's more of a fault on the game's part, and you can't really do anything about it. So hopefully we don't have another similar incident when we go into green here. I think the field is just about all gathered up, and we can probably be able to get going very shortly here.
Yeah.
Retro has left the session officially, so yeah.
He's probably not obviously, and I don't blame him, not very happy about that. Not a lot he could have done about it. I think there's a lot of drivers actually though on the lobby that were probably a little bit of an issue about that.
The real interesting part is going to be what can Hubert do. We know that he has one of the fastest cars here. He set down some of the fastest times in all 3 qualifying sessions, but after getting caught up and jumped in the air at the start, he's now back in 14th position with such a difficult track to overtake at. Does Hubert have a chance to even get back into the points, or is it race over? Is he stuck here in 14th for the rest of the day?
And we have safety car in this lap, but to answer what you were just saying, it's definitely going to be a test of his skills. Like, we know he has pace, but can he do anything with it on a his track? Flying Wallaby not letting that safety car pull away very well, or back in the fielder. He is aware that well it works, he's gone.
And Mon got a little bit sideways, putting on the throttle, exiting that final corner. So that enabled Wallaby to open up a little bit of a gap. In fact, the entire top 3 have opened up, top 4 has opened up a little bit of a gap, and then if you go a little bit farther back, the gaps start closing. Oh, and that's Turbo into the outside wall. He's going to lose position.
Oh,
And
no.
taps the outside wall. And here comes Gusty. Gusty wants to make something happen. There's no room, though. Gusty right behind Turbo as they're coming up into that nice little 90-degree right hand. They're downhill. They're going to both swerve to avoid the bump, I imagine. Hard under braking, blind right-hand corner, and the quick run down to the hairpin. Is Turbo's car okay?
It has. Yeah, I think. Oh, I can't quite tell. Give me a different view.
Oh, and Fratters has muscled his way right around Hubert around the outside, the hairpin, and now they're going to start entering the tunnel now. There's something wrong, I think, with Fratters' car. Fratters' engine sounds upset, and now Hubert is pulled alongside even with them. They're both making contact, both of them pushing each other wide. They're still neck and neck. There's not enough room here. One of them's going to have to give up sooner rather than later. Who's it going to be? Fratters gets into the wall.
He went
And Stumpy is there as well. Stumpy can't get by him.
Collected the back of him, so there was some wing that was disappeared there. Definitely Fradders, all of the right hand plate has completely vanished. So
Things gone from bad to worse for Fratters, but at least he's still in the race, but he's going to have to pin again just to get that entire front wing repaired. Turbo is all the way back in last position now. Very, very rough start for him, and he's not the only one. We have another virtual safety car, but Jono and Devil are right on top of each other. If Jono doesn't let Devil pull a Sebastian Vettel and open up small, subtle little gaps, he might be able to make a move on Devil the moment the virtual safety car is over.
So yeah, just gently sit on that gearbox there. Oh, and we have lost. Yeah.
And there we are, it's green flag. Once again, here on the circuit.
Really confused.
Constant Jet has come to a complete stop, though.
But it says he's in the pits.
He's definitely not in the pits. I'm looking at him right now on the camera.
Yeah, me too. But this is just...
Alright, and now he has been disqualified for parking.
The Codemasters is definitely on one today. Jet's not even in the session either, so you know, AI is going to close his car for him, I suppose.
Jono has caught Devil. The big difference between these two is that Devil is on the white hard tire compounds, so he's going to be a lot slower. He's going to have to deal with Jono for several laps because Jono is on the yellow sidewall medium tire compounds right now.
While you're on that battle, I'm on board with Fradders on the hards, all over the back of my current teammate Turbo on a set of mediums.
Yellow flags in basically every sector right now.
Everywhere.
Gusty has lost the position to Hubert, so Hubert, who fortunes beyond his control, has found himself back in the points he is eighth right now. He's over his teammate Gusty in the Haas. Gusty taps the outside wall.
Straight into the back of Turbo at the swimming pool. That's into the hairpin.
Devil
More
is
wing
holding
down.
up an entire field behind him. XRL Devil has basically formed his own
Wow.
truly train.
This is a yes, Gusty is the back runner, I believe, so far. I'm to approach it. This is what I was saying earlier on, like in qualifying the race. Monaco, if you like creating trains, this is a brilliant track to be able to create a train at. And we are. Devil is definitely trying to hold up Jono. But we want Gusty to...
Hubert makes a move! Hubert stuck his nose right up there against Jono, and Jono is not happy with it. Jono is...
Wow.
Oh,
Jono.
That's going to ruin Jono's race, and Whippy and Stumpy are going to try and weed through.
I think Whippy just overtook Jono though under yellow flag. There we go, gives the position back, which is what we like to see. But poor Jono got absolutely mugged to pieces by everybody there. Not a lot he could have done about it.
Hubert is being very aggressive, very physical
Very,
with this car.
very.
He is driving angry right now, trying to get desperately back into the podium positions that he so desperately feels he deserves to be in.
Well, it's all well and good if you think you deserve to be in those points. You just don't ruin other people's races in the process of trying to get there.
Hubert into the pits.
Along with Jono as well, though. Obviously, Jono has to replace that very damaged broken wing. I would imagine he's going for a set of hards. Yes, he is. Good lad. While meanwhile, Beck is serving the penalty. A really long one from the looks of it. So Jono's going to get that position as well.
Now it's Stumpy's turn to try and start whittling down the gap between himself and the Haas of Gusty. And the real beneficiary of this is XRL Devil. Those hards have really served him well because no one's made any moves on him. In fact, everyone's just been making moves behind them and ruining their days. He doesn't even have to run a very hard defensive race right now.
Oh, I do not want that. There we go.
Oh, Stumpy cut the track just a little bit and pulls right off. He does not want to take advantage of that. He gets off the throttle so he doesn't end up closing the gap too much on Gusty.
Yeah, it's quite good that he did that. He probably would have ended up squishing himself against the wall, I think, if he got lit next to him. Wise decision there. Back off, regain some composure and try again. Erdogan is all over the back of Mon. Ladies P2 at the top of the field, while Wallaby is
Ooh, Stumpy made a move on Gusty, but couldn't make it stick.
Close.
Oh, and there he is! Stumpy loses control of the car, knocks into the inside wall, and that's going to damage the front wing a bit.
Oh, yeah. But not gonna help. This track does not forgive. There's no leeway. Mercedes going to play the team strategy, both on mediums, both on shorts, maybe not. Maker is catching them up as well. They are going to possibly have to do a switcheroo. Quicker one go. More penalties. Into the pits.
The real interesting part is going to be when our race leader, Flying Wallaby, who is flying by himself, finally catches Fratters, who's on the hard tire compound. Mon has ruined this car! Mon has turned it around!
It's not Mon, it was Mon. Yeah, sorry, it's because I was on with that.
Mon is completely blocking the track, and Carlos Jackson is coming up fast. He needs to get out of the way, and get out of the way fast! Carlos Jackson barely squeezes by with a little bit of a gap, but I don't think Mon is comfortable getting out of there. Here comes Devil. Devil's going to have just enough room to get by, as will the Haas. And now Whippy's going to get by, so Gusty and Whippy get by. Mon falls all the way to 8th. He's spun right out of the second position.
It was really early on the power, and the rear of that car definitely didn't like it, and was like, okay, I will try and overtake the front.
Riders has pulled over to enable the leader to get by without issue.
Wow, lap 12, and we have cars being lapped already.
Stumpy and Hazel are in a little bit of a potential fight right now for the 11th and 12th position. No points to grab right now from it, but Hazel on the soft tire compound seems to think that if he can get around the hard tire compound that Stumpy is on, he might be able to put some fast laps down and close the gap between himself and Hubert, who is in 10th. And there we are.
Different, cool.
Stumpy pulls in.
Wondering if XRL Erdica or Snake can catch up to Wallaby, or they just gonna quite happily let him lead.
Here, Decent has set the best lap of the day thus far. 1:14.291. He is slowly closing the gap between himself and Wallaby. The real question is, even when he catches him, what can he do with him?
Oh yes, that is it. Really sort of have any close, no I say that just as Whippy gets within a second of Dusty. Going to jump on board with this. 11 lap old mediums versus 11 lap old hards. Oh, and definitely not that far in front of them either, so it's going to be a little train.
Devil and Dusty both on the hard tire compound. Whippy on the mediums. He's going to have to move fast because he's already put 11 laps on them. And another yellow flag in the third sector. Alright, it's gone down.
I think it was the other someone moving back marker, possibly. No, I'm not too sure, I don't know. Whippy has a little bit of end plate damage. And in second, XRL Erdica is all over the back of Fire Wallaby already. Those softs have obviously decided to give up. So here is the question though, what is he going to do? Out of the tunnel, does he make a move? No, thought about it but didn't quite send it.
You can see the rear end of that Alfa Romeo sliding just a little bit. Hazel now is the fastest lap on the circuit. 1:13.128.
That was very flat. Yeah, the back of that Alfa Romeo is definitely becoming very slidey with the lack of drive. And
He pits!
We have a new race leader of a Mercedes. Please tell me that wasn't
Meanwhile,
car number
WCD
4.
Hubert has caught Jono. Can he do anything to Jono?
Round 2. Right. Quickly, we'll be a lot cleaner than the first attempt. Jono will not be very happy if he puts him in the wall again. Bumpy into the pits again. Not quite sure what that's about. Maybe wind damage.
XRL Mon 11th right now, despite being the second car in line at one point in the race. He is now outside the points main position. He is the next driver at risk of going a lap down, although he is starting to pull up a little bit of a gap between himself and his teammate here, Diesel. Well, Stumpy and Whippy have found each other again. The only difference is this time Stumpy is a lap behind his teammate. The two Red Bulls have been right on top of each other.
Well, he's not really. They could sort of help him out a little bit. Not quite sure what the objective is there. If I was Whippy, I would let him unlap himself and go and cause some problems for Dusty. And he does. There he goes. Beautifully, but they were so close to connecting.
Hubert hit the wall a bit, still trying to chase down Dono. He's chasing him angry enough that
Still
he seems to
angry.
think that if he seems to think with enough anger he'll be able to move the walls and use that to get more track to get by Dono, but I'm pretty sure that's not how physics work.
No, that's a Haas, not a JCB, buddy. Jono will be looking in his mirrors every single second he gets the chance.
The other thing he does is that Jono is slowly pulls in on the lap batters.
No, there goes. Sorry, the lap. Did you say Fradders is starting?
Devil.
Oh, this Duffy here.
Devil is holding up Gusty, and they're both holding up the much faster car. Stumpy is significantly faster than both of them.
Exactly.
There's no room to get by right now.
Well, they don't. Well, this is the thing. Because where he is a back marker, they do not actually have to let him pass. It is entirely their choice. This is why I was saying, there we go.
He made contact with Gusty.
That was what I was saying about the Ricky and Stumpy problem. Like Ricky should just let him go and cause problems. Shame to see the incident, but
now Stumpy's front wing has been completely demolished. What about Gusty?
I am on the Gusty. Gusty has a bit of wing damage. No,
basically, XRL Devil is basically formed his own little truly train of both lap cars and unlapped cars, and while no one's really made any moves on him, everyone's making moves behind him, and it's ruining their days. And what's that done is it's enabled Devil to just slowly move his way up to the field. He's now fifth on the times.
In the tunnel. Devil killed himself in the tunnel. On the exit of the tunnel, the right hand side
just
of the wall.
at the exit of the tunnel.
I wonder if that will bring out. No, it's not going to bring out.
Yes, the yellow flag in sector 2, but everywhere else we're green again.
Yeah.
But it's right in the blind section. I wouldn't be a fan of that by any means.
No,
His car has despawned now.
That is a shame for Stumpy, though.
Snake has inherited the lead, apparently, and Flying Wallaby is behind Iridisa. Yeah, Snake has stayed out the longest on tires right now. So Iridisa has inherited the lead by virtue of just staying out longer on the harder compound tires. Flying Wallaby is now behind Iridisa. Can he do anything? Again, reminder, these two are fighting for the championship, and Flying Wallaby needs to get ahead if he wants to start making up ground in the title. He's got his nose right under the rear wing of that Mercedes, but he needs to get that nose ahead of the Mercedes.
Oh yeah. Snake will be enjoying
the battle for a lead when Snake does pit.
Get close, so close. We'll be back in. Yeah, Snake is going to be enjoying this lead while he holds it, but meanwhile, the battle is for P2.
Flying Wallaby is blatantly, significantly faster than Iridisa, at least for now. But he's on medium compound tires. Iridisa is on hard, so he needs to get by him fast, because the longer and longer this race goes on, the more and more it's going to fall into the hands of Iridisa. One second, you take care of the technical issue on my end.
Oh, okay. Stay patient. Useless DRS is active. Doesn't do anything here. It's too late.
No heroics in the side the boat. He's going to try and do heroics. He made contact. There's just not enough room there to make it work, but he's still right under there. If Iridisa leaves the lane open, he'll make a move.
Scary. What is he gonna do?
I don't know. I thought for a moment he was going to do a Montoya move down the hill, but he pulled out of it at the last second. He made contact with them again.
Yeah, he is. He's gonna lose the wing if he carries on, because obviously Erdico's making that Mercedes as wide as a double-decker bus at the moment. You are not coming through.
A little bit
Interesting
farther
line
back,
through the
another
tunnel.
battle of sense has opened up. Fratters is Hazel. The difference there, though, is that Fratters is the full lap behind Hazel, and now he's actually starting to drop off the back. I got all excited for a battle that was nowhere.
It literally looked like Wallabies was pushing the car through the swimming pool section. He was on that gearbox so close. Really wasn't to get past.
1992 all over again.
His engine is going to be getting so hot though, sat behind that Mercedes for that long, for this many laps. His performance will drop.
Like he cares. He's doing it. Horizon is sandable. They made contact, but he got it. But he moved it. It was not legal. He gives the position right back.
I always like to see that. I like to see when the drivers make the mistake and then give the position back. It's natural
Snake
respect.
has hit it, so this is now a battle for the lead.
Hellas Jackson is also into the pits. In my Ferrari. Hi Ferrari! Go, go, go! He's Holton changing. So that is into the points for him. It's nice to see. Don't do too well because they'll want to kick me out and employ you. Okay, into the pits as well, but Wallaby on that gearbox of the Mercedes. They do.
Those yellows, medium power compounds have 6 laps on them. Iridisa's hards have 3. All the Iridisa has to do is pull off masterclass defense, and he will basically hold the lead for the rest of the race because those tires will not last forever for Flying Wallaby.
And I've noticed
another contact.
Oh, he pushes him into the middle. There's a tiny bit of end plate come on,
and they're catching up to Turbo. Turbo's gonna go over.
Yeah, Turbo will get out of the way. He won't cause any problems. But there is wing damage to the Mercedes. And the smooth taps. Not helping Wallaby. I'm not feeling the next one is going to be his front wing.
At the last minute. I call it the Montoya maneuver because in the 2004 Monaco Grand Prix, Montoya made 2 moves on that little downhill section just like that. He was one of the few drivers to be able to make overtakes that entire race. Credit to XRL Devil, he has spent 21 laps on the hard tire compounds he's currently on. It has brought him up to 4th position. So Devil pulling off a masterclass strategy in the Renault right here.
And we didn't spot this, but Hubert has got past Johnny and is now all over the back of Devil as well. So
unstoppable force meets unmovable object.
Most definitely.
We saw Flying Wallaby get his car ahead once for a brief second, but had to immediately give the position back because the move was not legal. But he's still right there. I'm amazed at how long he's been able to stick behind the Mercedes.
Oh, and he went into the wall home straight with the DRS open, full throttle, caught the back Devil and there's
and he's gonna go into the wall. Yep.
Jeez,
I think that might be the end of the charge towards the forward.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna require some boxing and some new rubber on that.
Here comes Flying Wallaby. He's on the outside. He did it. He's by Iridisa. He came on the outside after the chicane, after the tunnel basically, and going through the swimming pool section. I'm guessing Iridisa must have cut the circuit. He pulled over to give the position to Wallaby because it was a cut. So Flying Wallaby now goes back into the front. The thing is though, he's on medium tire compounds that have 9 laps on them. He's gonna have to pit much sooner than Iridisa. I think Iridisa's gonna end up with the lead back. Very soon.
Yeah, that was the strategy call there, wasn't it? Like he had to hold him up for as long as physically possible. Huber getting 5 second penalty for collision. So even
Jono
the
makes the
stewards.
move, and Jono will overtake Huber now. Huber is staying out on the track out of stubbornness, but it's dropped him out of the points.
Yeah, there was a mistake there. He needs to calm that driving style down just a tad for Monaco, because he could have definitely had some good points here this weekend.
Turbo has formed his own little truly train again with Hazel, and no, Hazel's pulled in now, so it's now Whippy who has to hold off Jono behind him. Whippy has 2 lap-size hards, Jono has 0 lap-size mediums.
Is this a blue flag train?
A what?
Oh no. Oh, sorry. He's being laughed.
Oh God! But Jono made it stick! Jono made it stick! He made the Montoya rules stick!
Oh,
and now
beautiful.
he's gonna jump ahead of Whippy.
Well, Whippy had a small lock up with the brakes there as well, actually, watching the replay back.
Now here we come. Jono's gonna get right by. That's not Turbo, that's Jackson. That was
that's what I was saying.
I was wrong.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. It was Jackson was the one making the train, because if it was Turbo, we would have had to let them go. But I don't quite understand why he let Whippy just fly past like that. He has wing damage, but Devil's into the pits.
It has been a long time,
And so
but Devil is finally pitting. Devil swaps onto the mediums. He won't have to pit again. If he plays his cards right and the drivers ahead of him do have to start pitting, he might end up back in the top 5. It might become a masterclass drive on his part.
If he stays out of trouble and keeps going the way this race is unfolding, I think he could very, very close look at the last podium spot.
Meanwhile, Fratters and Turbo have caught each other. This is the battle for 12th. They're both 2 laps down, but this is for position between 2 drivers who have struggled massively today.
Yeah, 7 lap old hards versus 5 lap old mediums. Make that car nice and wide and it'll be okay.
Over the bumps. Ooh, Fratters under braking gets really close to Turbo's rear wing there. The gap between first and second, meanwhile, is opened up to about 3.3 seconds. Our leader has not yet made another pit stop, but I can't imagine he's going to be able to make those mediums last to the end of the race. There's still 12 laps to go. We're only about 2/3 of the way through right now.
No, I think he's definitely going to have to stop again. Or if he does try and go to the end, it's going to be a lot work.
Yeah, don't be the one saying, Bodo, my tires are dead in that case.
Oh yeah. Fratters has wing damage and almost kills Turbo.
Fratters is not giving up. It's honestly quite commendable how aggressively Fratters has pushed this entire day through qualifying into the race. The problem is, pushing mindlessly like that is the reason why he didn't make it out of Q2 and why he's not gotten any higher than 13th.
I noticed he didn't swerve around the bump then, he went straight across and almost didn't stop when he put the brakes. Oh my god, these two are getting feisty.
There's another battle that's getting pretty feisty right now between Devil and Whippy. Devil on the nice fresh mediums versus Whippy on the 6-lap-old hards.
Oh, whoa! He lost the main plate.
So Turbo has now fallen behind. Turbo nearly cuts into Fratter's rear tire there, but Fratters has gotten by Turbo. And now Fratters is starting to open up the gap just a little bit here.
Yeah, that was a bit close. But is Devil gonna have a go at Wicket? No, too far back. About it though.
I'm gonna be honest, I think this race is gonna fall into Iridissa's hands. But it's gonna be really close because both, I think Wallaby and Iridissa are going to need to pit for new tires. The thing is, Iridissa will have the advantage of staying out longer on hards. He might be able to come in, just do a quick jump on the softs, and might be able to be in a good position. Hubert, another 3-second time penalty. He's currently 11th right now behind Carlos Jackson. It looks like Hubert might not make the points at all, despite being the third fastest driver on track, arguably.
Yeah, he has quite a few penalties built up, so even I think if he does get himself into the points, he's going to drop straight back out with them again.
He is right on Carlos Jackson's rear bumper, trying to make something happen, and he does it! He makes something happen! He catches Carlos Jackson out when Jackson screwed up his braking line to stop the boat. And now, Hubert goes into the 10th position. He needs to open up as much of a gap between himself and Carlos Jackson as possible.
Oh, yeah. So 10 laps to go. It's going to be an interesting call if Erdica is going to pick or not on those 11 lap old cars, like you were saying. Is he going to have to pit again, or is he going to try and go to the end on them? I would go for the undercut, maybe. Knowing that your teammate irks him, knowing, oh, he's got a penalty. Oh, this is just mixed things up. He is definitely going to have to hit now, I think.
I mean, we'll have to piss eventually at some point.
Yeah. But the penalty is definitely not helping him out now, though. Because it's not just a single case of keep Wallaby behind him if he pits. It's build that time gap up as well now.
Devil continues to slog on the back of Whippy here.
Hazel pits in
Oh, and he
P11.
lets Wallaby by. So yeah, Wallaby's now going to factor into that briefly. He puts Devil a lap down. Now he has to put Whippy a lap down. Will Wallaby catch Whippy in a position that's beneficial for Devil? That's the real question. Because Devil has to give a lot of time up for Wallaby to get by him.
Yeah, Whippy can ease anywhere through this last sector. It's just a simple case of ease off the throttle, let them come past. Oh, got a penalty as well.
The thing is, Snake is roughly 35 seconds, actually more than 35 seconds up on Bond, so I think he'll be fine for now.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, Fly Wallaby will get by Whippy without issue.
Snake obviously does not have to pit again, so I was thinking obviously the two in front of him, if he catches them up or anything like that, you know, there's more positions. But
he's about 3 seconds behind Iridissa right now, and he's on fresher hard tire compounds. Snake may be in a position to actually just stay out on the hards to the end of the race. And I don't think he'd pick up the win, but he might steal second.
Well, he's going to have to overtake him to do it, though. They both have penalties.
But if Iridissa pits, because Iridissa is on hards that are 3 laps older, if Iridissa stays out, he'll be on 21 lap old hards by the end of the race. Snake will be a lot less, more than 18 laps. Still more, but he would be able to push. I'm starting to think that Iridissa is in a no-win scenario. I think the win is completely slipped out of Iridissa's hands at this point, because this is so difficult, because Snake doesn't have to pit. Snake can stay out.
Yes.
Iridissa needs to pit if he wants to go up and try and run down Wallaby. But if Wallaby doesn't pit for whatever reason, then Iridissa's race is ruined. And if Iridissa pits, Snake immediately ends up ahead of him by a significant amount as well. because the gap between the two is only about 3 seconds. Now, if Flying Wallaby pits, then Iridisa just stays out for 1 or 2 more laps, then comes in, pits, throws on the sauce, and gets going. But again, Snake more than likely ends up ahead of Iridisa. I think Wallaby may have ended up in a winning position. Not exactly because of what he's done, definitely his drive to eventually get by Iridisa's help. But I think Wallaby may have walked into a victory by virtue of Snake putting a little bit of time pressure on Iridisa right now.
Yeah, the way the race has definitely unfolded has definitely helped Flying Wallaby out this time, I think. I'm quite lucky. Stayed out with trouble.
Meanwhile, farther back, Devil is still on the back of Whippy. The mediums are... Oh, and Devil smacks the outside ball in the swimming pool complex. It was a nice hard tank slapper. I don't know if it was enough to damage the car or not.
There is a bit of wing take damage gone, but I don't know if he previously had damage. But yeah, you actually heard that hit the wall as he went through there.
And Devil has a 3-second time penalty now for that, so I think he's going to have to get by Whippy like now and then open up a massive gap if he wants to get by him. Thing is, I don't know if that's going to happen. Whippy is on the hard tire compounds. He can cruise on those hard tires, possibly for the end of the race.
We have Mercedes. Oh,
Mercedes
it was Mon that I don't know, something happened down at the exit of the tunnel. There was a yellow flag and a Mercedes stopped. But Gusty is all over the back of Mon now. I don't know if Mon spun or if it breaks up, but Gusty is now thinking, hello.
Credits due also to Fratters. It's not a points-paying position, but it looks like he will not be the last of all the drivers running on the track. He is a full lap ahead of XRL Turbo right now.
Yeah, I think Turbo's going to try and go for the fastest lap outside the top 10.
Snake has fallen off the back of Iridisa just a bit. It's roughly a 5 to 6 second gap now between himself and Iridisa. But Wallaby continues to open the gap between himself and Iridisa. The thing is, Wallaby, he's built up an 11-second gap, but if he pushes too hard, he could very easily end up running that car into the wall somewhere.
Yeah, Snake's definitely losing down a little bit. He's falling off that pace. Meanwhile, Gusty and Jono, well, Jono's all over the back of Gusty, and Gusty is not that far behind him on, but it's generally just because the battle is Jono and Gusty. Take P5, a good haul for McLaren this weekend.
P3 for Snake and a potential P5 for Jono would be absolutely amazing for them. The only other team that would be comparable would be the Mercedes of XRL Iridisa and XRL Mom being second and fourth.
Gusty is just picking up a time penalty.
And here we are, Hubert might get by Devil here, because Devil had to pull over, let one of the Mercedes by. Here comes Hubert. Hubert and Devil going to be side by side, out of the corner. They barely avoid making contact. They do make contact, but it's nose to rear wing contact. Hubert is back behind Devil, but the battle has started again in earnest for 8th. Devil, nice and steady, putting the power down. Here comes Hubert, he's on the inside. He's doing some heroics inside the boat. What are they going to do? They make it, no, they don't. It gets turned. Devil and Hubert make contact, and it's going to block the track. Here comes one of the Renaults, and Hubert is sideways. His day has gone from bad to worse. He has to completely destroy that front wing just to get going again. Here comes one of the Ferraris. It's barely enough room for him to get by. Now one of the racing point for Zenya's squeezed by. Here comes the other Ferrari, very carefully squeaking through, but Hubert falls to 11th. Every time Hubert starts getting something going good, he drives a little bit too hard, too hot-headedly, and ends up ruining himself, and with only 3 laps to go in the session, Hubert's day is over, I would say.
Yeah, that is definitely a bad day at the office for him. Jono makes little Gusty.
Jono made contact with Gusty! They both made contact, and I think Gusty lost far his front lead, but Jono muscled his way right by him.
Hopping the 10. Dating himself a 10-second penalty there. And has absolutely binned it.
Devil has dropped out of the session. What has happened to Devil? Front end on Devil's car is completely ruined, so Devil, who's playing on a master class of the day, with being very consistently, what is the term I should use? Not careful, I guess, has now dropped out.
And Huber has also gone as well.
Yeah, Huber's dropped out also. Fratters and Turbo might be in a position, or at least Fratters might be in a position, he might walk out of here with 1 point.
Well, Fratters, one of them, everybody at the moment is getting points. Because there's 11 drivers, so 10 plus the one outside for top 10, fastest lap of the race. Jono is all over the back of Mondo. He's going for P4 before the end of this race. He is driving pretty aggressively at the moment. That rear end is twitching every exit of every turn.
Snake opened up enough of a gap on the rest of the field that he went ahead, pitted, and threw on
yes,
soft tire compounds.
Brilliant.
He's going for fastest lap in the top 10. Jono has caught Mon. He wants to make it a 3-4 for the McLarens, but the Mercedes aren't going to be happy with it. But Mon has been struggling today. This will be really interesting. There's only about a lap and a half left in this race for him to do anything.
25 lap old hards versus 14 lap old mediums. No wonder why Jono is like literally all over him like fleas all over a cat.
Huge crack to Flying Wallaby. 15-second gap. He's on 23 lap old mediums also.
They're on the start of the penultimate lap. Jono still wants to take the fourth place away from Mon. You really have to apply some pressure this lap if you really want that position. Oh, wait, no, it's one.
Yeah, this is the final lap. Here we are. Fratters has officially overtaken Hubert and Devil. So Fratters, for all his struggling, for all his fighting, he will end up in the top 10 points main positions. So good job on Fratters for sticking with it.
A little bit of information for you. Jono does not have to take Mon. Mon has a penalty, and Jono doesn't. So all he's got to do is just sit there and watch that gearbox for a quarter more of a lap, and he will take P4.
Well, he'll have to go roughly another full lap afterwards. But yeah, you make a good point. So just stay watching that gearbox and don't bang the Renault off of any of the walls, and yeah, he will have 4th place. So Jono might end up, Jono and Snake, I don't know who I'd say driver of the day is, but I think I would definitely say team of the day is going to be the McLaren team.
I don't think he does. I think that's one of the reasons why I almost said it as well,
has
because
crossed the start-finish line. He has the win. And Iridisa is going to come by very shortly here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Jono was thinking, I really have to overtake him, but no, you really don't, buddy. Just sit there. Oh, he was in the wall.
Please.
Oh my god.
He's really pushing hard. Please don't ruin that car. Your team is desperately wanting not to. Snake rounds the final corners now. He will top up the podium positions. So good job on his part. XRL Mon, he's fourth. He really, honestly, Mon wants Yoda to make a stupid move and total his car because it's the only way he's going to get fourth.
He's sort of setting him up for it. And Snake takes quickest lap of the race, so it's an extra point for him. He'll be happy about that.
Final corner now.
Jono!
Oh, and Jono got really sideways, but he kept in control of it. But
Is he
here's
out
the
of
thing,
fuel?
though.
No.
No, he's not out of fuel. So it says Jono didn't overtake Mon. I think Jono, when he got sideways out of the final corner, he dropped more than 3 seconds. I think he only got fifth.
Way. We'll have to have a look at the gap. And there we go. Team, and he grabs the driver of the day. It's up to the driver's vote, so we will ignore that. The Codemasters recognises it now. That's quite a nice feature I actually like about this game. As there is a lot to moan about. We should really focus on some of the positives about this game.
But here we are, Flying Wallaby. It's going to help him significantly in the points battle. From the pole to the win. Not easy though. He definitely fought his ass off for that. But anyways, I'm not going to stay here for too long. I do want to get in contact with Wallaby at the end of this, but...
Yeah, you wanted to get in contact with Wallaby.
Yeah, I want to see if I can get in contact with Wallaby and hear what he has to say, because that was an incredible run today. I'm going to try and invite him on in here. But a wonderful run from him. So yeah, it looks like the penalties do not hurt enough. Mon will be ahead of Jono at the end. So Mercedes 2 and 4. So in the Constructors/Team Championships, I think Mercedes will easily continue their dominance, as Alfa Romeo is first and 20th, with their 20th being a DSQ. I'm going to try one more time to invite Flying Wallaby into here, but a very, very intense and interesting race, to say the least. That's why I absolutely love watching X3, because there's always something going on here.
Yeah, let's hope Wallaby does join. I'd be interested to listen in on that little interview.
It's saying he's left the session, so he might be. There we are, Flying Wallaby. All right. Flying Wallaby, go ahead, include your audio. What do you have to say about your race today?
And all I did was...
I think you did a lot more than that. We saw you doing some crazy fucking moves against Iridisa there in the mid-section of the race. How did you get back by him?
Yes, great.
Well, I'll say this much for sure. From qualifying to the race's start to the race's finish, you put on a masterclass. From absolutely wonderful being able to watch you do what you did today. Sadly, I wish I could have focused on you more, because there was a lot of battles all throughout, but you put on a wonderful run today. Congratulations, Wallaby, on a victory, and this should help you a bit in your aspirations to be X3 driver champion.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to say a quick thing, obviously, before you go as well, Flying Wallaby. It was so nice to see somebody stopping XRL Mon's victory run, so thank you.
Yeah, nice.
I bet. Well, no, congratulations. obviously Monaco is always a good one to win at. You did put on a hell of a show.
Yep. Well, that basically wraps up our day today at Monaco. I think the 3 biggest things to take away: 1, don't mess up on the start or you will end up with your car jumping in the air and the pace car disqualifying someone else because the pace car is stupid. 2, stay off the wall. And 3, be careful trying to make overtakes. There was at least 4 instances today where we saw people sticking their nose up in areas where it just couldn't work. Or people were in a legal area, but the guy defending wasn't aware of the drivers around them and cut right into them. We saw so many instances where the tracks were partially or almost fully blocked. So those would be the 3 biggest things they take away from our race today here at Monaco. But
Well,
I've been
don't
saying
forget about the
13.
safety car.
Oh yeah, like I said, don't be stupid on the start, otherwise you'll get disqualified from a safety car, or you'll get someone else disqualified by a safety car, but yeah.
Yeah. That was.
I've never seen an accident in Formula 1 that involves a safety car, so...
Yeah, that was the funniest one. I was like, that's a new one for me. But it was. Thank you for having me, and hopefully next week I shall be on track.
Yep. Thank you very much. I need to go catch up on NASCAR at Talladega, but have yourself a great time. I've been St. Lear 13, and once again, thank you to the XRL team for letting me do broadcasting. In about an hour's time, the XRL X2 race will be broadcasted. I will not be on that, but I do highly encourage you to check that out because X2 also puts on a very, very good show. But until then, farewell and good night.